Hey, what you up to, Austin? What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be looking at caramel 3 different ways. So here in front of me I have 3 different caramels. We have a dry caramel, we have a wet caramel, and lastly we have what I call a fat wet caramel. So in this video we're going to go over how to make each one of those individually. For all of these recipes, we're going to use the same ingredient amounts across all 3. First, let's go ahead and start off with the dry caramel. So the dry caramel is named such because all you're going to do is add your sugar to a skillet or a pot, and you're going to melt it without the use of water. We're going to take 4 tablespoons of sugar, add it to our skillet, and then we're going to melt that over high heat until the sugar is completely melted. At no point do you want to stir your sugar because stirring causes crystallization to occur. Usually what happens is the sugar kind of sticks to the walls of the pan or the skillet, crystallizes, and then burns before the rest of your caramel comes to temp. And so that's the reason why you don't want to stir your caramel. If you need to, you can swirl the pan or tilt the pan in order to expose more of the unmelted sugar to the heat, but at no point do you want to stir. Okay, so once the sugar is all nice and melted, go ahead and start adding your heavy cream. You don't want to add all your heavy cream at once. More than likely, your cream is fresh out of the fridge, and what will happen is the cream will cause the temperature of the caramel to drop very quickly, and that abrupt drop in temperature will cause the caramel to seize, and what will happen is you have big clumps of caramel that just won't melt, which isn't what you want to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to add heavy cream a little bit at a time. Think of it as tempering your caramel, but instead it's kind of backwards. Instead of pouring hot into cold, you're pouring cold into hot. So add a little bit of heavy cream, wait for it to boil up real nice, and then keep stirring until it's pretty smooth, and then dump in the rest of your heavy cream. That way everything will come to temp relatively at the same time, and you have a nice smooth caramel. Our dry caramel is done, and we have learned pretty much all the basic principles of making caramel using the dry caramel. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one, which is the wet caramel. So as you can see here, the wet caramel is actually a shade lighter than the dry caramel. So this is the dry and this is the wet. As you can see, like, they're different shades. It doesn't really matter too much. The lighter your caramel is, the more cream notes you get, the more fresh cream flavors you'll have. And the darker your caramel is, the more bitter, more coffee, more chocolatey flavors you might get. It's up to you. The longer you cook your caramel, the more bitter and darker flavors you may get. But if you don't cook it as long, then you'll get lighter flavors like cream and stuff like that. So for the wet caramel, you're going to, again, use 4 tablespoons of sugar. You're going to add it to a pot this time. Next, you're going to add 2 fat tablespoons of water. Tilt or swirl your pan to make sure all the sugar is covered by the water, and then crank it over medium heat and bring it to a boil. So at this point, you're going to cook your caramel until it turns a nice light amber color. You're then going to turn off the heat, and you're going to add your cream in just like before. So you're going to add another 2 tablespoons of heavy cream. Once again, you're going to temper the mixture. You're not going to dump it in all at once. And then once it's nice and smooth, add the rest, and boom, the wet caramel is complete. Now we have gone over 2 up to 3 caramels, and the final one is one that I like to use. It's pretty convenient, but you do need a thermometer to do it. So this is yet another reason to get an instant read thermometer. But anyway, the last caramel, I've named it the fat wet caramel. Right here, the fat wet caramel. And so I named it that way because instead of using water, we're going to use our heavy cream straight from the jump. Add your 4 tablespoons of sugar, but instead of using white sugar, we're going to use dark brown sugar. If you were to use white sugar, you're going to wind up with a blonde caramel, something like this. So this is the same caramel, just I use white sugar. Add your 4 tablespoons of dark brown sugar to your pot, and then you're going to add 2 fat tablespoons of heavy cream, along with a big pinch of salt and a splash of vanilla. Crank that over medium heat, bring to a boil, and you're gonna let that cook until the instant read thermometer hits 240. Once it hits 240, take it off of the heat, and boom, your fat wet caramel is done. And that's really it. That's the best way. That's the easiest ways to make caramel. This caramel is very versatile. You can put it on, you can put it on brownies. You can put it on apple pie. You can put it on cookies. I mean, hell, it's Valentine's Day. You can even put it on your date. I mean, as long as it's cool and they into it, I don't see why not. You know, it's whatever you want to do with it. It's a versatile recipe. I figured this would be a good time to make this video since Valentine's Day is Sunday, I believe. So I'm hoping I'm giving you enough time to you know, put something together to impress your date, Valentine, or whatever. Share down in the comment section what you guys did for Valentine's Day. You know, share this video if you found it informative, or if you learned something. You know, share it with the chef in your life. We can all step up our game and learn something new. And if you guys make caramel a different way, you know, be sure to drop it down in the comment section how you make caramel. I mean, I'm sure there's other ways to make it. I just showed you 3 of my favorite ways to make it. So, also, caramel is not, you know, don't just like assign it to sweet things. Caramel can also be used for savory dishes. Like I know a lot of like Vietnamese recipes call for caramel to be made in order to make a sauce or a braise or whatever. I've also seen it in some Hispanic recipes. So yeah, I know I have a really awesome squash marmalade recipe that I use. I have to make the caramel to create. But once again, instead of diluting in heavy cream, I dilute with vinegar. So be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. I appreciate all the support you guys give me. I have more things to be up to. So until next time, take care, stay safe, and we out, baby.
Mom teller told me waiting for you. Walked out, tired of taking these orders. Got beef with your bacon, I make my own cheese. My day is shorter and shorter.